This is the Lichtman Live Post Show, the best post show that's ever existed on the face of planet Earth. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me on the post show after Lichtman Live. You're all heroes of the American way of life, whatever that means. Hello, Dennis. Hello, Suzanne. Political Pow in the house. MLG Gamer said, I have a very bad prediction for a long while about what Putin might do had Trump won, and it feels like it's slowly coming true. Him distancing from allies was a big part. Yeah. Trump ain't no savior when it comes to the Ukraine-Russia war. I'll tell you that much. Hey, we are live. Susie Garcia's here. T-Girl's here. What do you think about Trump cryptocurrency soaring as president offers dinners to holders? Sounds sketchy as F to me. What were the poll results? I keep forgetting. We keep doing polls at the end of the show, and then I keep forgetting to read them. When I last saw it, it was like 88% no. I don't know why he wanted to do that poll. It's kind of like a ridiculous question in my mind, at least. Like, even Hitler couldn't even take over Europe, and he had multiple countries on his side and a much stronger army. I don't know. Next game was close. I didn't watch it. We were live. Trump also isn't a savior in the Israel-Palestine war like all the non-voters wanted. Yeah, no, Sherlock. And I'm not saying it to you. I'm saying it to the non-voters who thought he might be a savior. Putin will bomb Odessa because it's a seaport. Putin wants Odessa too. I'm sure he does. Political Power says, we are more like World War II Spain than Nazi Germany because foreign adversaries installed their puppets in their respective countries. Hitler installed Franco while Putin installed Trump. That's scary. Philip H says, we got Cam Ward. You're a Titans fan? I don't know if I've ever met a Titans fan before, to be honest with you. What was Dr. Lichtman's thoughts about Bill Maher going to have dinner with Trump? I have no idea. I haven't talked to him about it. What do you think about the concept that the reason Trump has been able to rise to power so fast is via advice from Putin? I don't buy it. What does Putin have over Trump? I don't know if he has anything over Trump. I don't know if it matters. I think Trump likes Putin. Like my dad said it before, because he wants to be like Putin. So he likes Putin. And he has to talk nicely about Putin because he wants to be Putin. It's that simple. Nanby says, let's face it, Trump is trying to end democracy. I agree with that. I think if you could go up to Trump and just try to be like, you know what, if you want to just end democracy, everything will, no one will talk back about it. He'd do it. I mean, a lot of the stuff he's already done has been pretty anti-democracy. Let's not get it twisted. I got 2 microphones. Yeah. But this one's not plugged in anymore. Gotcha, did I fool you? Yes or no? Master says, I don't understand the notion of ending democracy. I see it as anti-democracy, but ending? What does that mean? That's a good question, I guess. Ending democracy would mean that he would do so much damage to democracy that we would no longer have free and fair elections. Voter suppression would be rampant, things like that. Do you think the Dems will win the midterms? And if they do, will Trump finally get impeached? Yes, I do think the Dems will win the midterms. Will he get impeached? I don't know if people have the stomach for it anymore, honestly. But if he does something egregious, he will be impeached, yes, but he won't be removed. T-Girl says he wants to be king and stay out of jail. Let's face it. I agree. Everett said he would become a dictator. Yeah, I agree with that too. Like, I don't think today he's like, I want to be a dictator, but I think if you gave him some leeway to do it, he would take those reins and run with it. He wants an oligarchy and the executive to have full control. Yep. Missy said, I think Civil War II would start before democracy ended. No shot. Americans are way too comfortable and way too lazy. No shot. Keith says, during federal elections in Canada, if you don't have an ID, you can still vote if you declare your identity and address in writing and have someone who knows you and is assigned to your station vouch. That's interesting. Trump is a wannabe king. He's so thin-skinned and old. He's not king-like nor ever will be. I mean, there's been a lot of kings throughout history, and they've all been very different. So I don't really know what king-like means exactly. Like maybe what Hollywood tells us kings are like, but I don't know if that's actually accurate. A Shish says, people were so worried about how Joe Biden walked, but I slept well with him in the office. Me too. If the world collapses tomorrow, what was the use of following international norms of democracy? Well, because following those kept the world from collapsing for a long time. Democracy always exists at some level. Even in a dictatorship, the people can push for change. This was the way things worked for thousands of years. To some extent, but that's a pretty, we're talking about a faucet and like a full flow, that's democracy. I mean, we're talking about what you're describing as a trickle of democracy. I mean, for example, in Russia, yeah, people push for change, but it hasn't happened yet. And Putin has been in power for what, 2 decades now? So not much change happening there. Maybe eventually, but I think Dems will win given all those Republican town halls, but he has been impeached and not run out of office, so I doubt that. Do I think he has a chance to stay in office after 2028? I mean, anything's possible, but I don't think so. Comic Fan says Putin is not suicidal. You sure about that? Jason says, I think King P, Putin, just wants a dedicated and controlled trade route to the Black Sea. Then maybe he will pick on Istanbul to get out of the Mediterranean Sea, just like the Orange Clown King wants his own dedicated trade route through his own Panama Canal. Yeah, there's no doubt that trade and economics is playing a big role in pretty much everything. On messaging, even though Democrats are committed to telling the truth, they need to make concise rebuttals of Republican lies. Otherwise, it sounds too sketchy. What sounds too sketchy? Ohio's Governor DeWine touted $2 billion manufacturing investments. He took credit for it, but it was Biden's infrastructure bill that bought that investment. Is that a question or a statement? Does Trump do Wordle? I don't think so. Marco says Trump hasn't made any deals in spite of what he claims. Will the Republicans ever grow a spine? What will it take? No, I don't think they're ever going to grow a spine. T-Girl says narcissists can't even think about their own demise. That's an interesting point. Never thought about it like that before. I don't think Trump reads or writes. I don't think he doesn't do like, I don't think he reads or writes that often. Most of what he does is blab at the mouth. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, comic fans, I get it. You don't need to put that in the chat 500 times. Do I think Trump is a true sociopath? I'm not like a psychiatrist, so I have to look up the definition. Would you and your dad take a look at the election voting alliance voting data studies and comment? I don't know. I'll ask him. But last time I asked him, he didn't want to, so maybe I won't ask him. What would happen if NATO hits Russia? Can NATO attack Russia and win, or would Putin hit the nuke bomb? That's all scary sounding. What do you mean by NATO? Like every NATO nation attacks Russia? I mean, I think Russia would be screwed, but yeah, what that would cause really, really horrific war to break out. China said they will not be bullied. Other world leaders need to take note of China. He always backs down. He's weak. He's already backing down before any deal's even made with anybody. Platt says NATO would only attack if Russia attacks them first. Yeah, I think you're right. Marco says, I don't think America will help NATO. I mean, certainly not a Trump-led America won't help NATO. I don't think. But who knows, dude? I don't think that's going to happen, but most of Trump's cabinet has said publicly they despise him in one way or another, so spineless doesn't quite cover it. Are Democratic voters spineless because they refuse to vote en masse in 2024? I don't know. That's such a broad question. Nan says, I think we call Putin's bluff. I'm sick of Putin. How would we call his bluff exactly? Comic fan says, I don't think your dad should watch Russian state media. It is propaganda. I don't think my dad's ever watched Russian state media. I mean, maybe clips of it or something for research, but... Trump wants to join BRICS. Maybe. Brazil, Russia, Iran, China, South... I don't know. He hates Iran. Before this current Lichtman Live, what was the original supposed to be? Something about Christians? Did you change the thumbnail? No, that's a standalone video that's coming out tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. If Zelensky wrestled Putin, who do you think would win? That's tough. Putin knows judo. But judo is really only a takedown defense. Like if they're on the ground, I'm not sure how good of a wrestler Putin is. I mean, Zelensky is younger and more fit, so like Putin might be good at getting, because he's a judo guy, getting Zelensky to the ground. But once they're on the ground, I'm taking Zelensky. MLG Gamer says, part of my prediction included America exiting NATO. That has happened. Yep. But since other countries are asking America to leave, it's close enough. Additionally, I think he wants... I'm not sure what you're saying. Master says, I'll put my money on Putin. T-Girl says Zelensky. Mass says, Putin's getting old. Maybe 10 years ago, Putin would win. Yeah. NATO needs to be renegotiated. It's still functioning as if it's the 1930s. All NATO nations should have some level of defense, or at least a European national alliance. The one thing I agree with Trump. I don't know a ton about NATO, to be honest with you. other than the basics. Jason says, I think Elon is stepping aside from Doge, not to focus on his depreciating Tesla, because he wants to focus on his large possible defense contract to play with Star Wars / BS Iron Dome that doesn't even work. Maybe. Besides disinformation, it seems to me that the extreme rightward shift across the map is a result of explosion of xenophobia, racism, misogyny, and anti-Semitism. I definitely think all those play a role. Why does Trump claim Zelensky started the war in Ukraine? Because he likes Putin. He's trying to placate to Putin, and he wants to strike a deal no matter what. And if that's conceding stuff to Russia, he'll do it. And this is how he's justifying it. If America joined BRICS, we'd own the world hands down. Not that I want that, which I don't. Why would we own the world if we joined BRICS? The European Union is still much stronger than I think any of those nations, honestly. I mean, they're certainly growing nations, especially India, but South Africa is not that strong. Brazil's iffy. Russia's iffy. Iran is iffy. So does your dad watch the after show? No, I think he's outside smoking a cigar right now. Do you ever think America would not unite together and get rid of this con artist in the White House? No, I do not think that's going to happen. Susie K missed the show? BRICS is an alliance. It's sort of, I don't know how formal it is. They've met like once or twice, but it's Brazil, Russia, Iran, China, South Africa. The only two like nations in that are that strong are India, or is it Iran or is it India? No, it must be India. It can't be Iran. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. The only two really strong countries in that are India and China, and India's still growing. Still got a long way to go. Michael Hughes is giving it too much credit, BRICS. Yeah, I think BRICS is not that powerful. And I don't even know if they even like each other that much. Like, India and China hate each other. Nambi says, how has Russia's war economy remained so resilient in the face of Western sanctions? I don't get it. That is a good question. I don't really get it either. Huh. My question was, did you ever think America would stand behind a wannabe dictator? No. I mean, like my dad was saying on the show today, there were some, like, he said, like the main veterans organization in the 30s liked fascist Italy. So there's signs that America is not perfect, right? They cook the numbers like China. Who does? India? I'm assuming that's what you're saying, that India cooks the numbers. We're sending all our previous allies in their direction already, closing USAID, etc. Yeah, I hear that. I don't know. Brazil is still, I mean, Brazil's, I still don't think a very powerful country. Russia's in a war that they are draining so, like, South Africa is not powerful at all. I mean, years ago, a Bentley professor predicted China would be part of the New World India, the London, South Korea, the industrial center. I'm not exactly sure what you're saying. We're seceding our soft power. I agree with that. I do agree with that. Does that mean Brazil and South Africa are going to take it? I'm not convinced. China, they might take it. They've already taken a lot of soft power. Yeah, hit the like for the stream. Thank you, my best life. What's the score in the Vegas, Minnesota hockey game? I don't know. I don't really follow hockey. Where's Allan? You know this is my channel, right? This is not his channel. Everyone is going to China. Yeah, maybe so. Putin fears democracy and the threat that it poses to his regime. It's that simple. I agree. BRICS is an alternative to the G7. They're the reason nations are still functioning with trade. All BRICS nations have raw materials and natural resources we need. Don't sleep on BRICS. I'm not sleeping on it. I'm just not like saying there's a lot of countries in there that I don't think are major threats to the U.S. I know the 28 hats are just trolling, but I would love to see Trump versus Obama in 2028. The Democrats should join the Republicans in increasing the term limits. No, I'm out on that. So what do you think about those t-shirts, Sam? Which t-shirts? Sam, when you said you think Dems will win the midterms, did you mean win majorities in both houses, the Senate out of reach? Yeah, I guess I didn't specify. Yeah, the Senate's going to be tough, but I think they will certainly win the House. I'm curious, will you eventually make your own prediction of a future election? Probably not. Do you think there are people behind Trump running the show? I mean, there are people behind every president running the show. Do I think that maybe he has a higher degree of it? I don't know. I'm not sure. I think he's also stubborn, so he might not listen to other people. Did you hear that Nate's 538 shut down? I did hear that. What would be great content, though? Do I watch Destiny? I used to. I haven't watched him much lately. He had some weird, scandal come out, and I kind of stopped watching him after that. The Trump store has t-shirts and hats. Trump 2028, rewrite the rules. Oh, yeah. I didn't know that. Philip H. says, I think Dems will get the Senate now. Okay. How many people are watching? 160, only 70 likes, guys. Make sure you hit that like button. What's my favorite shows on Netflix and movies? My favorite Netflix show is probably The Crown. Maybe Stranger Things. Those are my two top ones. What's it like being Allan's son? It's pretty cool. Peter says, I don't like the new time of the live. I have to miss it. It's been the same for a year. What do you mean new time? Republicans are shooting themselves in the foot right now. They're proposing term limits on federal judges as if they'll always be in power. All this for one president for 4 years is idiotic. I agree with you, man. Or woman. Or whoever you are. Stephen Miller is such an attention. W-H-O-R-E. Stephen Miller is off his... I don't even know what to call that guy. That dude is I don't even know how to describe him. Thanks to your dad for answering my question tonight. I don't think we reached all the same conclusions, but I appreciate the honesty nonetheless. We agree at least that younger people should vote. Shout out to you, Vladimir Planton. You're the man. Dennis says, great show on Monday. Love the new format. Will the show be later in the afternoon? Yeah, probably. Democrats were the incumbent party both times when they nominated a woman for president. They should stop being afraid of nominating a woman for president and should stop being afraid not to lose. I agree with you. I did a kind of a new format on my Monday live. If you want to go to my live tab and check it out, it's about the Catholic Church. Biden wanted term limits, though. I'm pretty sure term limits would be bipartisan effort. Yeah, that is true. He did want term limits, especially on Supreme Court judges, right? I'm not against term limits necessarily, but again, just the way the MAGA does everything, it's so partisan. They only think about things in terms of their hyper partisan perspective, you know? Philip H. I'm not going to read that, actually. Dustin, you missed all the lives? How dare you? What do you think about Dems running on prosecuting all these corrupt cabinet members and the Doge dude stealing all of our info? Could be a winning strategy and might get people pissed off. I like the Doge idea better than I like cabinet members. That's just me. Who influenced me more politically growing up, my mom or my dad? That's an interesting question. I mean, they were pretty aligned on almost everything, so it's kind of hard to differentiate them from each other in terms of like political influence. GeoGuessr on Friday. Yes, I will play GeoGuessr on Friday. Yes. If you could get on a plane tomorrow, where would you go and why? I've always wanted to check out China and India. ES says, I will never stop being shocked at how almost every Republican in Congress basically backed all this. Are all of them being blackmailed, or are there that many terrible people? They're not being blackmailed. They're just corrupted by power and influence. And MAGA runs the Republican Party, and they know if they go against MAGA, they'll lose in the primary, and all their power and influence is gone. It's that simple. Sam, keep working on your dad to answer your trivia questions. He's just being so grouchy about it. I gave up about it. Like, I don't want to answer those. I'm like, bro, they're for fun. And he's like, I don't want to answer them. I'm like, all right, I'm out. I gave him a noogie today, though. Again, we broke a Guinness World Record there. First ever noogie given on a political show. Don't say we don't provide you that kind of we provide you a plethora of content on that show. Yep, tremendous noogie. I saw that noogie. Hell yeah. Tony says, be nice. He was the one being grouchy, not me. Yeah, his hair did still look good. After I did it, I was like, oh, he's going to complain that I messed up his hair, but it looked good. When Congress amend the presidential immunity of the Supreme Court ruling, can Congress do that? I don't know. I don't know. Would you ever want to live in another country, and have you thought about it? I've thought about it quite a bit. I think at this point in my life, it's probably not realistic. Maybe if I would have done it when I was like right out of college. But I've always like thought about it. Maybe UK, maybe Germany, maybe Japan, maybe South Korea. Those are some places I've thought about. Does your dad wear a toupee? No, he does not. Maths OP says, some say the best noogie. They've never seen anything like it. I walked into the room and the people were saying, wow, what a noogie. Tigro says, Sam, I missed all your shows because I don't get work done in time. Are they all playing games? No, they're not all playing it. Check them out. Go to the live tab and they're all titled. They all have the topic. Check them out. Have I traveled outside of the U.S.? Yes. I wish I can ask you some questions similar to your dad. You can ask me whatever you want. I'm going to answer them all, but you can ask me. You can try. Canada? I don't know if I'd live in Canada. It's too cold. Maybe Western Canada. Angela says, are you smart? I don't know. You tell me. Have I ever tried Korean food? I love Korean food. Am I single? I'm single. And ready to mingle, baby. UK is expensive. That is true. But so is US. Especially in like the places that I want to live in the US, like major cities, they're all expensive in the US for the most part. Will Hegseth last until June? I think so. I don't see any. I haven't seen any signs that he's going anywhere. Peter says all decent places are expensive. Maybe so. What kind of microphone do you use? And please tell the truth. Why do you phrase it like that? Like I would lie? This is a Shure SM7B. This one is a Shure SM58. Both very good vocal microphones if you're looking. Not cheap though. Taiwan has been my favorite place so far, says Jason. Am I into guys? No, I am a heterosexual male. Yeah, I'm also interested in Taiwan. Microphone gate, please tell the truth. Mass OP says countryside is cheap and I love it. There you go. Lie so hard about the microphones. Gabrielle says your dad may have figured out the keys to the White House, but I'm going to figure out the keys to your heart. Hey now. You guys should do an episode on Christian nationalism. That's a good idea. Midwest is the cheapest among cities, yeah. Vancouver, BC is gorgeous if you have a lot of money. Yeah, that's what I've heard about it. But yeah, Chicago's not that cheap. Do I like politics or not really? Not really, to be honest with you. Oops. Oopsie daisy. You guys should go on Family Feud. All right, set it up. All right, I'm getting very tired, so I'm going to sign off a little early tonight. I appreciate every single one of you tuning in, being a part of this community. Have a good one.